witchy woman. She got the moon in her eyes. Tiny Tarot, hey, what have you got to say today? I am Low-Key Magical, aka Christina Smart, and I am here with my sassy little deck of Tiny Tarot cards to give you the what's up today. I am with Earl Hale. He is the podcast master. Earl, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to hear that. Earl is with Toy Robot Productions. Toy Robot Productions is responsible for producing the Tiny Tarot podcast, so I'm always so happy to have Earl here. He does a fantastic job. And I love to say that today we are being brought to you by Miss D's CBD and Hemp Wellness Center in Rogers, Arkansas. You got to go by and see Dawn there. She is so much fun. I am reading tarot now at Miss D's. It's fantastic. She is over at 1500 West Walnut Street in Rogers, Arkansas. And her phone number there at that wonderful shop is 479-372-4555. She's got my schedule. She can always book a read, but you should go check the shop out. It is beautiful. She's got medicine for you, and she also has beautiful tarot cards and lots of beautiful things to look at. And she's a great gal, so check out Dawn at Miss D's. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We are kind of immediately when my body goes, we're going to do a heavier, it feels like a heavier message when I really started thinking about it. Because there are a lot of things, and even by the time, here's the thing, there's so much going on in society, in media, in the news, in people's minds. It just seems like a huge, negative, terrible thing comes up and looms. It comes through it comes in through the rectangle. There's all this negativity coming in through my magical rectangle. What am I supposed to do about this? This is telling me that the world is falling apart. This is telling me that there's been things going on that we had no idea. Maybe we suspected. Maybe they got called conspiracy theories, but we're starting to see that there's more and more threads of truth in these things, and that they're awful, and that we as light workers, it's like a little wound opens up in us because we see that heartache, we see that pain, we see that awful thing that's been done and has been done for a while. We see that people have been putting money in their pocket and then turning the other way because they just don't want to deal with consequences. We'll just let that fester while I get rich, right? And we don't like that, especially as light workers and energy people and sensitives who have thought all this time that we've been doing the right things. We've been trying to be good citizens. We've been trying to be good neighbors. We've been trying to be good parents, mothers, sisters, daughters, sons, right? Brothers, dads. We've been doing our best. Meanwhile, the game seemed to be rigged, and we weren't aware of it. Oh, gosh, here we go. Do you remember how Tiny Tarot, Earl, a little while back when I was talking about how I like to gamble? And Tiny Tarot was like, why do you want to play a game that's rigged?
Yes.
You know, why do you worry about luck? And you're like, hey, can I be lucky today? When you're playing a game that's rigged? And I think that's going to be part of this. How do we navigate this game now that we found out that so much of it has been rigged for us not to be successful, for us to stay in the game, for us to keep don't look behind this curtain. That's not your job. Your job is just to stand there and listen to what the rectangle tells you and, be a good person because you have to do this and you have to do that. And by the way, all this stuff is going to contradict and it's going to make you crazy. And you're going to worry that you're, killing the planet, and you're going to worry about all this other stuff, while meanwhile, we've been abusing all of you all along. We've been taking all of your money all along. We've been making just a few people really rich and really, I don't know what else, powerful, while the rest of you worry that not, having to throw away some of your strawberries was wasting. I've been wasting food and ruining the planet. Really? Really? Why have we been made to feel this way? So I was trying to ask Tiny Tarot these questions. How do I even pose this question? And that's what came to me just now is, remember when you were talking about how weird gambling feels and how you want to win at gambling? And it's like, why are you trying to play a game where it's rigged for you to fail? That's what came up when I was thinking, what do we do? What do we do when we suddenly realize that this matrix, this construct, this society, whatever this is that we've been living in, has been rigged to benefit just a few people and hurt some others? And so Tiny Tarot first says, well, you know what? When you know that there's an infection, this is it. Once the infection becomes something that you can identify, that's what you do when you go to the doctor. Something's wrong here. And the doctor says, oh, there's something in there that you don't want. Thank goodness that we identified this. And you get this diagnosis, correct? And then you begin to work to fix what's wrong. Well, yay. We have it hurts when we see these things. It hurts when you see the infected tooth. It hurts when you realize you had an injury there that you didn't know was that bad. But being able to put eyes on it, identify it, diagnose it, you're already on your way to getting better. That's the whole piece of this. We have to go through some of these painful diagnosis moments where we look at these things that have been running in the background that we did not know were there, feel powerless against. And that's part of that. Showing us these festering things can also be used against us. And that's one of the things that Tiny Tarot's saying. So here's where we're going to go with this. All right. So how do we navigate? Because this is going to happen. This stuff is going to keep coming up for a little while. I don't even know by the time this comes out, there could be 3 or 4 or 5 other scandals or awful things that we suddenly become aware of. So I don't even need to make a list. Okay. Have you got a rectangle? Then you know what the hell has been going on. And there's going to be more. So what I'm asking Tiny Tarot is those of us who are intuitive, those are us who are empathic, those of us who feel like there's just, what the hell am I supposed to do about this? I have enough struggle living my life, and now I know these awful things have happened. What action can I take, right? I don't have money to go and throw at these things. I don't have, but more resources to go and throw at some of these things. Are you feeding it to me in this just so I can feel more helpless? Is that what this is about? So we're asking Tiny Tarot, how do we navigate this? Because here's a wave coming. We've just been hit by a couple waves. We know there's a couple more waves coming. Tiny Tarot, how do we navigate this over this next however period of time that this takes to roll out? Because I do honestly feel in my heart from previous messages that we have received and from my own channeling, because trust me, when I go deep into meditation, these are the same questions that I ask. I don't even want to address it with tarot until I know that I can at least see there's light at the end of at the end of a tunnel. And I'm being reminded, please just relax and let this come through, that we do pull through this. That's the whole reason that this is being experienced, is because we do pull through it and have a perspective that makes us so much more powerful on the other side, if that makes sense. What that looks like in between, what it is like going through that birth canal, it feels like that's what we're experiencing right now. So how do we deeply relax into these birthing pains that seem to be showing us everything that isn't going to make it to the other side? Okay? You want to birth into a new earth. You want to birth into a new life. You want to birth into something new that humans can become when they are unified in an aggregate consciousness where everyone has their special place to play. Well, then you got to get this shit out. See, that's my... We haven't even pulled a card yet. I'm already getting some stuff. But that's when I go deep into meditation, I start to understand that. Yes, we make it through this, but there's some stuff that can't get to that other side, and it's this trash. And so this is what we are pulling out. So Tiny Tarot, how do we get through this next part where we are weeding through this trash and having to look at these awful things that humans have done to each other? Ugh. Tiny Tarot, hey, how the hell do we navigate through that today? That's the best way to put that question. Earl, I have divided these cards into 3 even stacks, and I would like you to choose intuitively stack 1, 2, or 3.
2.
Okay, we are going with stack 2 today. And the very first card that comes out, is the 9 of Wands. No, I'm sorry. Wow, I totally got that wrong. It's the 9 of Swords. And the swords are our thoughts and our words. And if you look at the 9 of Swords, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is us as intuitives, this is how we react primarily when we see these things. I am now up at night worrying about this. I am re-experiencing wounds for other people. You know, I'm seeing that these terrible things were done to other people, and then I feel that pain, I feel that heartache, I feel that frustration. I feel it as a mom, I feel it as a victim, I feel it as all of those things. And it becomes more than what you can deal with as an empath. It really does. But it feels necessary to look at it. It feels necessary as the one with light. And we are the ones with light to shine the light of attention upon these things, no matter how hard it is. Not to dwell within it and not to sink in and say, and this is all there is, because we know that's not true. We know that in a healthy body, one spot of infection does not mean the entire body needs to be thrown out. We know that. We know that. And yes, it's been magnified because we all have to see it. But that doesn't make it bigger than it is. It doesn't make it bigger than it is. So the first... Thank you, Tony Tara. The first emphasis on this is, this hurts and this is going to be painful and it's not going to be the last thing and there's going to be a little bit more. So this is where we ball up. This is where we as light workers step forward with what we've been working on for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, some of us longer. This is where all of that rubber hits the road. Because we've been getting ready. What do you think we've been getting ready for? I mean, a lot of us have imagined that here's what's going to happen. These angelic beings are just going to drop out of the sky and they're going to wave wands and make all these assholes disappear, right? And then we're going to inherit the earth. Woo! No blood, no mess, right? Nobody has to die over this. I don't think that's the way that's going to go down. Because really, if you were an angelic being, do you want to land in the pile of shit that's being exposed right now? No, 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 no. And I look at this with a metaphor of there is a very small community of indigenous people that are not open to outsiders in any way whatsoever. And there have been missionaries that have gone in, individuals that have gone in, doctors that have attempted, and they have all been murdered or chased away because this community insists that it stays preserved exactly the way that it is. Outsiders, no thank you. So even when we have tried, we think we're helping you. Don't you want us to help you? We've got vaccines. We've got knowledge. We could give you so much of the good thing. I mean, even, bad things. Yeah, we could probably give you diseases and, there's all that capitalism. Mm-hmm. But with the good, I've got good things that I could share with you. Ideas and crafts and, materials that we've come up with and medicine. They don't care. If you get close to them, you're going to die. And I cannot help but think, that is the way that the entities that are outside of us and observing all of this right now, that's kind of the way that they have got to be seeing it. Because we've got so much negativity, even with the military shooting down objects that they don't even understand what that's the first thing they do. It's just like those little natives sitting there and shooting arrows at the helicopter. How would that be any different? That even though they have things, maybe these beings have so much they could give us. They could give us medicine. They could help us get better. They could do that angelic thing that we're talking about, but we've been chasing them out of the sky. And we've been, refusing to foster those things with us that could open us up to those channels to receive information, because we think if it's not physical like this, oh, dear angelic being, if you're not putting $5,000 into my checking account tomorrow, then what good are you to me? Really? I mean, come on. If you don't heal this tumor tomorrow, then it's not real. And that's probably just shutting more things down. That's exactly what this is, shutting things down mentally in a way that you can't even let what you want to manifest for you. And we do. This is so new for us, understanding that we have so much more power than we knew before, okay? And especially in an environment where we are being told that all of these awful things are happening. Yeah, we need to look at them. But it's kind of being skewed in a way of, this is another reason why you're powerless. This is another reason that proves why there's a small amount of people holding power over a very large population, and that we've been herded like cattle, and that we've been overfed and overvaccinated, and we've been treated poorly. And then the weakest ones of us, the most innocent ones of us, the most powerless ones of us have just been scooped up and used in the most horrible ways. We have so much more power than this. We really do. And this is where, like I said, the light workers have to go, okay, this is where, yes, there are people who are specialists who are being, their boots are on the ground, and there are those who have they've been digging in the deepest, darkest places to physically get this stuff out. Bless them. First of all, as a light worker, bless those people for doing that's the hard work right there. That's the hard work. Bless those people. That's part of what we have. We have the ability, and you may be ridiculed for that. Someone may say, well, that's not really doing any good. That's just you throwing energy out there. What do you even know that that's doing? Really? We're light workers, and we know what that does. We know the power of that. We know the power of intention. We know the power of blessing. We know the power of holding space in our hearts for every one of those wounded hearts to be healed and found to be safe. And that sort of behavior will not be allowed to continue in this construct, because we are the light. We are the light that puts meaning to this construct. That's what we are. And so it is. We know that, and we can hold that. Even in the midst of disaster, what looks like psychological disaster around us, even in the midst of that, that's what we've been here for. That's what we've been doing the work for. That's what all the meditation has been for. That's what all the clearing has been for. If you've been working on yourself physically to make yourself stronger, that's what this has been for. Because there are those, and on this planet who are too weak to do so. Bless them as well. Who don't know. Bless them as well. Who refuse to look at it because this is too much. I will not admit it is there. I cannot live on a planet where these things happen. No, no, no. That person would never do that. I will never believe that's true. That's going to happen too. That's going to happen too. So there are those of us who are strong, who have been learning, who have been doing the clearing, who have been, I am confident enough in myself and my own identity to know that as I watch these identities around me crumble and become something that I had no idea, I'm okay with that. I can step away from that because I have not invested any of myself in a famous person, a politician, someone that society looked up to, someone that society had given credentials to, someone that society had put a badge on. I mean, we just need to remember that all of these things that we had previously seen as credibility, they've been vetted because they've got, years of experience. They've won all these awards. They've got all these diplomas. They've had all these jobs. They've been so famous for so long. Whatever that is that we have built up in our head means this person's important, this person is credible, this person would never do bad things, this person is always looking out for us. Those kind of things are going to have to be let go. And those of us that have been working and learning and peeling that curtain back, aggressively peeling the curtain back for so long to say, what's really going on here? You know, the truth is really in here, and I'm starting to tune into that. So what the hell? And now that we really are pulling that curtain back, oh my God, there's things I never wanted to know were happening. And there will be those that deny that it ever has. It's old Kentucky Shark, and it's been that's a Space Ghost reference that nobody else will get. But there will be those people that will just vehemently deny this raging infection. You know, your toe needs to be cut. No, it doesn't. Like, just, okay, fine. If that's the case, there's going to be a lot of people with blinders on. Let them have their blinders. We know as Lightworkers, we know what's happening. We also know not to panic and say, well, this is the end of everything and everything is gone, and throw the whole baby out with the bathwater and the whole, this is the end of the world. It's like we are being the ones that are holding that middle way, okay? That's going to get us the fuck through this. Like, you just have to understand, this feels so serious. This feels so real. That those of us that can maintain, that can see this, we can see the extreme on both ends. We can see the extreme of the heinous things that have been done. And we can see the extreme of those that just refuse to look at it. Refusing to look at it, it's what has allowed it to continue to fester. But we can also see on the other side the power and the strength of those people that are physically pulling that curtain back and saying, look at this. Please don't let this go on anymore. We had to go to extreme measures to get this information to you. We had to go to extreme measures to rescue these people or help this get open, or whatever they have done to expose these awful things that have been going on. Goodness sakes, there's so much energy invested in that. And then there's those of us that know we're not the boots on the ground. No, we're not the people that had to have the secret conversations and risk our lives and fear that our families are. We haven't had to take those kind of physical awful risks. But we're here in this middle place where we're not the people with our eyes closed saying, I refuse to see all of this. We're the people in the camp saying, okay, yes, I understand that where I see infection, there could be more. And instead of putting my blinders on, I'm going to work to be as healthy as possible. I'm going to work to make this aggregate consciousness that we are birthing here as healthy as possible. And the way that I do that is that I continue to allow my eyes to be open, because we're not going to allow any more infection in. Fuck no. Hello. So one, we're going to root out what's already there. And two, that's the end of that. Energetically, right? I'm not saying that you stand in your front, or anybody that's a mean person that's trying to take my kids or feed me medicine. I know that's so weird, but we have to see it as an overall energy here, where we're just saying to ourselves energetically, this is an infection being taken care of. And from that point on, this body is going to be so healthy that shit isn't even allowed in here anymore. As a consciousness, okay? And we will see that bloom out in the physical around us. It's not that we go out and try to force, okay, well, how do I see this? This means that I only want my neighbors to believe the way I believe. And, whew, man, what does a body do? When you're growing in a womb, at first you are just a mass of cells, and all those cells are pretty homogeneous. It's like human cells. And at some point, that homogeneous mass starts to specialize. Those groups begin to specialize. You have specialized functions that go all throughout your body that allow the entire thing to function beautifully together. we are understanding that all of us are specialized that way. We are not one big homogeneous mass of human. We are a specialized biological being that's growing in consciousness and learning these special little niches that have to be, right? And as we're doing this, we're like, oh, I am something that helps the whole body communicate. I am something that helps the whole body learn. I am something that helps the whole body enjoy music. I am something that helps the whole body, I don't know, whatever your specialty is, you are coming to realize this is what you have for the whole society, for the whole the whole aggregate, right? And as we're doing this, we're going, by the way, this is some filth that does not need to be in here anymore. Oh my God, this is like, what is this festering nastiness? We don't need this. And what is this that we don't need? And that feels like it's a whole new way of looking at things. This feels like a gift. And what is that, Tiny Tarot? It's a parasitic. It's a parasitic relationship. Okay. And I love that there's a crown at the top of this because I feel like we're being given our crown back a little bit. I'm seeing two types of relationships that develop when I think about human interaction. Because my thought is like, how did we get to this point in the first place? What is this fresh idea that we're supposed to change? Like how? And the image that I get is when you are in a there's the word. Okay, here we are. When you are in a symbiotic relationship, even just one person and one person, a symbiotic relationship is one where both people benefit and both people grow. It's like a feedback loop, right? But there are injured people in the world, injured, fractured. I want to say fractured, like due to things that happen to you when you're growing up, really. When people talk about generational curses, it's the way that people in the family behaved. If it was okay, if physical abuse was completely okay, and alcoholism was completely okay, and outrageous narcissism was completely okay. Well, it causes these little fractures in your psyche. And as you grow, you can kind of go off in one or two directions. You become a little overly... you sort of continue your life as a bit of a victim, okay, where you just constantly try to please and please and please and give to make the world right so that you're not injured anymore. Or you go the opposite direction where you decide to be the abuser or you decide to be parasitic in a way. It's like I'm seeing it like a Y off, like that one individual in those, it's like a choice moment where and I think they kind of call that service to self or service to others, but I kind of like to break it down to I'm going to be as symbiotic as possible or I'm going to be as parasitic as possible. And if you decide to be as parasitic as possible, that means instead of creating your own energy and getting into relationships where it is a beautiful feedback loop, you just feed on other people. And as you go up the hierarchical ladder and people become more powerful and have more money and more status and more whatever, that appetite to feed never really gets satiated. Like that continued parasitic relationship just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what we are seeing play out now, is the difference between symbiotic relationships and parasitic relationships. On an individual level, like, oh, I had a bunch of narcissist boyfriends. All right, that's a bunch of parasitic relationships. But we're also seeing it play out on this big scale, that this parasitic infection has gone way further than what you think, because everything that we do in microcosm is expanded into the as above, so below, and so on and so forth. So it's almost like the body, again, and not just an infection. It's like, girl, you have a parasite. Like humans, hello humans, you have a parasite. You have this terrible idea that has gone on for too long, that it is okay to parasitically prey on others to get what you need. That is not the way that nature was set up to work, at least not into this next stage that we're going into. This is now symbiosis or it's out. This is, it works for everyone or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, it's not making it through this portal. whatever this thing is, this cervix that we're pushing through, whatever this, the reason that all of this is being shown to us in the first place, whether it's the singularity, as they like to call it, whatever this birth moment is, this bullshit cannot come through this ring, it cannot be pushed through this ring as we are seeing it with the crap that's been going on here. This parasitic infection has got to be cleared out before we can upgrade to whatever the next thing is that we're going to be. Like, period. So, as light workers, look, we've gone from this, it's going to be, the Nine of Swords is you staying up at night worrying about this stuff. It's running through your head. This is not good. But this is picking up the light worker's sword. Like, I feel like this, again, is emphasizing this is why you're here. Now, I understand that there's kind of a misconception of like, oh, let me put it this way. I incarnated into this as kind of a punishment because I have all these things that I have to do and it's my responsibility to pull the world out of it. Man, because again, we're making it feel like work. We're making it feel like I've got to, pick something up, or that it's some kind of obligation that's on us. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it too. We are really good at this. We incarnated into this because this is our forte, baby. Have you ever seen someone that's really a master at anything? If it's a game, like someone who's fantastic at playing basketball, somebody who's fantastic at rock climbing. Oh my gosh, where they kind of hover and you just want to watch them do whatever. There's the chefs that make noodles, and their whole life they've just made these beautiful noodles. Boy, by the end of it, all you want is noodles. I just want to watch them. When someone's an artist, there's so many videos online of just watch me paint a painting. Bob Ross, look at Bob Ross. People love to watch his videos to this day just because he's so good at what he's doing. Do you think they feel like it's a punishment when they're doing that? Do you think those masters, when they are really focused in their work, that they're like, oh, this is what I was sent to do and it's so tedious and awful? No. This is what we were sent to do. This is our work, to be our true selves, to be able to look at these infected places and see these parasites and say, yeah, this isn't going to be allowed anymore. Again, I don't know what the steps are from A to B where you're gone, but I am holding that space. I am holding that light because this is why I'm here. This is where I'm the badass. This is where, as they study quantum gravity theory, they're going to turn out that it's people like us that have been bending time and making this work and helping the light come through and summoning the energy and the information that we need to get us through this next step of evolution, because it's big. The Ace of Swords is a brand new beginning when it comes to this and when it comes to this. And I'm thinking this is going to be bigger than just because it plays out in the real world. What we get... And again, those of us that have really been tuned in for a while, we have been feeling that something like this was coming, right? Like it almost, when COVID hit, we were kind of like, oh shit, here it is. I think that's why so many people were willing to sit back and kind of watch it play out, because we were expecting, but we didn't know it was going to be bam, 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 bam. That it was just kind of the tip of the iceberg, as they say. But intuitively, I'm being told that it's going to be more. Now, again, there could be some ideas. Okay, we've been looking at it as, yes, there's some awful parasitic stuff, and we've got to look at that too. But what if there's some stuff on the other side of that? What if there's some really crazy, even bigger ideas that don't even have to do with that, like everybody was duped. You know what I mean? Like if they found out, oh, there's a whole nother, by the way, there's another planet on the side of the moon. What? Just something crazy where we find out that something even bigger has been hidden from us. Let's get through these little painful little parasitic relationships so that by the time if we get to one big old whopper of an idea that we're not bowled over, we're already like, bring it on. I have dealt with this and this and this, and I have held my light, and I have done everything as it was brought to me. Okay. Ooh, that feels important. As it was brought to me. Are you seeking more negativity from your rectangle? Or are you just kind of allowing things to come at you as you are ready to deal with them? Oh, that's important. Don't dig. Don't dig for more than what you're ready to expel in the moment. Okay? You know you've got an infection. Let's take care of it a little bit at a time. All of us know that if you just take wads of antibiotics, sometimes you can get sick from spitting out too much. So one of the first things that Tiny Tarot said when it comes to this, okay, pick up, I feel like we've channeled so much information already. Pick up this sword and own it. See these swords that are sort of being used against you here? We're switching that around. We are picking up the sword of what? Come on, girls. We kind of knew this was coming. This is the work that we've been doing. This is the moment that we should have prepared for. Like, I love that phrase. This is the moment that we should have prepared for. So pick it up and say from this point on, yes, there may be some wounds. There may be some other things that I'm going to see. But moving forward, I'm not even going to flinch. I'm going to continue to hold this sword, and I'm going to continue to be the strong light worker that I am. And I am not going to change paths, and I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to start feeling weak, and I'm just not. Because I know it could get weirder, it could get stranger, but that we are moving towards something. And the way that we stay strong in that, ooh, I like this. It could get weirder. That's what we're saying. The Five of Wands is, oh no, there's a lot with this. The Five of Wands is saying, it looks chaotic, but look, you have everything you need to do what you need to do. Now, the Five Wands can become a beautiful star, but these guys are not getting their shit together. It's like, hey, your wand's in my face. No, your wand's in my face. There's a lot of this going on right now, and it's being encouraged. It's being encouraged by the same people that are having the parasitic relationship with humanity. I just want to say that they are the ones that are having the off balance, power, parasitic relationship with humanity. Those are the ones that inspire us to never get our shit together. Hello. Because when we are all together and we are working together, we do amazing things. And we all have everything that we need. We really do. I know that mentally we're taught that we don't, that it's awful, that we are headed towards a precipice, that it's all apocalyptic. But I will tell you right now, Tiny Tarot says that's bullshit. Did you see how much the planet repaired itself when we just took that short little COVID break? The planet's going to be okay if we will pick up the sword. Again, we're not sitting back in the recliner and not taking action anymore, because we know we have the power now. We know we have the power to visualize this stuff. We know we have the power to channel answers. We know we have access to our higher selves that want to see us pull through this. The parasites don't. They would rather keep us trapped. They would rather that we self-destruct than pull through this, without that. You lose your power at that point. You lose your power at that point. And again, we're talking more than just this lifetime. So you may be thinking just in terms of like this one cycle of life or 75 years, but this is a process that has been in place for longer than we really can mentally grasp. This parasitic energy would not be showing itself as festering the way it is in our society had it not been running as an unbalanced equation for a very long time. So now is when we identify it and we say, no more. We're rooting this out and we're not letting it happen anymore. We are moving forward with power, with new ideas, with knowing where we are and who we are and what our power really is. Okay? And it's not just in this hard thing construct. Okay? My power goes beyond what you see in front of you. My power goes beyond what you see and hear and smell and taste and touch. My power goes beyond that. Thank you very much. Parasite does not want you to embrace that, because if you are stuck in just what you have to work with in this construct, you are so easy to feed on. You are so easy to feed on. But again, when you realize, oh my God, it's like Dorothy. What? I had these shoes the whole time. You know what? I could have clicked my heels together and made this happen. So angry. Be right with these wands. That's really the next part of it. Ooh, Tiny Tarot says. Okay, so now you have this information that you feel empowered with. You're seeing where these infections need to be taken care of, and you're realizing that you have a lot more power. When you have this inspired power, you can get to the good ideas faster. Okay? So it's not that we're saying there's not going to be physical work to do, but when you're doing inspired and effective physical work, then it's yay. I'm not doing bullshit that's not getting anything done. Stressing over my leftover strawberries rotting in the fridge. Oh no, I'm contributing to people being hungry because no, that is such misplaced energy. When your rectangle and your television try to make you feel bad over stuff that is irrelevant to the big picture, that sucks a lot of that away from you. That's, oh, you're sticking your stick in my eye. When they're getting you mad over each other being different colors, when they're getting you mad over each other having different sexual preferences, when they are getting you mad because someone over there in a country that I've never even seen talk some shit. Really? This is supposed to keep you from being effective. That's the whole part of that whole parasitic relationship, is just keeping you so confused that you never notice the parasite. Like, that's the whole thing. You're too busy fighting with each other to say, hey, by the way, we should go take care of that asshole over there. And that's the next thing, as Tiny Tarot says, most effective use of the sticks. Because there's going to be a lot of energy where we want to take these sticks and just go murder a lot of people. And that's not going to be the most effective way to do this. There's going to be some anger, and there's going to be some resentment, and there's going to be some heads need to roll, baby. Heads need to roll. But Tiny Tarot straight up says, first of all, karma's going to roll out. Heads are going to roll when the time for the heads to roll is rolling. I don't know if that makes any sense. When the time comes, the heads will roll effectively the way they need to roll out. Okay? But you need to take your stick and work with it effectively, not messing with other, pointing fingers. This is not going to be a time to point fingers. Do you want to be effective going forward? Do you want to root this out as quickly as possible? It's not a time to point fingers at each other. It is time to point the finger where it needs to be pointed and then allow that process to roll out. Okay? Because fighting amongst yourselves over the minutia, that's the word that's coming into my head. Fighting amongst yourselves over the details. You were always, and I told you I was right all along, right? That's not going to be effective. Those of us that are light workers realize no time for that bullshit. I have stuff to do now. I have a focus. We are pulling out of this. We are going to something beyond. I don't have time to listen to you, Karen, about your coupons or whatever. You see what I mean? Like, we realize now that a lot of the stuff that we were bogged down in with this day-to-day and obligation has been just such a huge distraction to keep us from being focused on what truly is important, this connection that we have in here to a version of ourselves that is bigger and has a larger perspective and knows peace and is pulling us towards it. Oh, that is so much more important than, my neighbor Larry. So we're picking up this sword and we are going forward clear now, and we know we're going to see some things, and we know that it may not be completely, oh, wow. And then it's just a straight up a judgment card. I do love that, because look, it's just naked people, and the angel there is blowing that horn of truth. And when that horn of truth is blown, you have to think of it like a very strong vibration, right? And when that vibration of truth is just overwhelming, everything that is not truth has to fall away. That's judgment. It's not sitting there and going, oh, you're bad and you're good, so you get presents this year and you don't. That's not true judgment. Judgment is within the frequency of truth. All that is not truth cannot exist. Why do you think they have to be naked here? They have to come to it naked. They have to. So damn, whatever it is that we are coming through, what we are passing through, it is only the truth that can go through this sieve. It is only the truth that can go through this next step. This awful parasitic infection just can't go. So how easy do you want to make this on yourself? You want to get drug behind the horse on this next step? Or are you okay and saying, yes, this is another infection that needs to be cleared out? No, that is not allowed to happen anymore. No, children are not allowed to be treated like this. No, humans are not allowed to be treated like this. No, we are not bought and sold. No, we are not kept as slaves. No. Because that's how we pass through this. Yes? That's how we pass through this. Yes? That's how we pass through this. That's what we've been wanting. That's what we've been asking for. And look. Oh, and then there's an Ace of Cups. And that's just an overwhelming offering of love. That is an overwhelming offering of love. And this is what we've been asking for, you guys. This is what... Can I tell you exactly that ships are going to land or an angelic being will be here? Or is it just that we are the ones who make it possible for our future to become what we know we can be? What if it's us? We are the ones that fought the infection. We are the antibiotic that was sent in to take care of the shit because it cannot be allowed to continue. This is where it gets cleaned up. This is where health is achieved, not just individual health that's showing up in us. Those of us who have made radical changes, who were told that you will never be healthy. This is just who you are. You will always be this. You will always be this. And you stepped forward and made a change, whether it was in a relationship with your physical body, whatever it is. You picked up a sword and said, no, thank you. I think I'm going to find another way to get this done. And you did it. Personally, you blew that horn and found your own truth. And we are making that happen holographically in this construct because it has to, because we are the only ones that can. It is a combination, right? The heart doesn't do what the liver was sent here to do. The liver doesn't do what the stomach was. All of these specialized organs that we have, they each function perfectly to do exactly what they were sent here to do. So you're seeing the other cleanup happen. You're seeing the other parts of this larger us that we are. You're seeing those processes getting filtered out. Where that one is digesting this, and this one is kicking out that, and this one is taking care of that. And what's my job? What is your job? Your job is to center with that larger part of yourself and say, yes, I'm ready. Tell me. What is next for me to do? If it's just to hold this space and send love and blessings and give when I can and be ready for when I'm called forward for the next thing that I need to do, whether it's view it, send love to it, connect more to my higher self, receive more ideas, connect more with friends, however you feel inspired, that's your specialty. That's you being called forward to be part of this bigger system that we all are. And it's so beautiful. I mean, I get tears with this because it feels like enlightenment. It feels like something that's so sure. It feels to me like it's not all despair. It isn't. Deep within the infection, yeah, that's despair. But the rest of the body rejoices as the infection is cleared. The rest of the body rejoices as the infection is cleared and then sends all aid that it can. And even if it doesn't have the resource, what am I going to send? Another tooth? I don't know. You send encouragement. You send light. You send focus. You send hope. And it's not false hope. It's real hope because you send knowing that the infection is conquered already. The body is already healed. Humanity is already healed. The earth is already healed. And I hold that, and then I watch it happen. And I act every time I can. And when I am shown something, or I'm given a choice, and I think, you know what? The choice that I'm being encouraged to choose doesn't seem to be in alignment with where I know we are going. Okay? So we just put this in your real life. You are doing your best to hold your space, even though you're being bombarded with awful things that are coming into this all the time. And you're seeing that there's been awful things really, truly going on that you just can't stand. And you see them and you look at them and you do the best to find your truth in them. And then you hold that space. This is where we get through it. This is where this infection gets rooted out. This is where we are shown the worst of ourselves so that we can turn towards and become the best of ourselves. That is what tunes us in to this future. That is what gets us to that space. And every time we're shown that choice where we could fall back into, well, it's really not that important that I get up and take care of myself today. I guess I could take on another high interest loan. Maybe I don't need to vote for so-and-so. Maybe I just don't need to do anything. Maybe this world is falling apart. Maybe I just need to lay back in bed and be depressed and take a handful of pills and do what I'm told. Really? Okay. Now you know better. Now you have woken up. Now you know that those little micro choices are what have slid us slowly. Not just you individually, just as humans. We left the trees as happy little monkeys, and then we got really confused. And someone dangled some things in front of us and decided that they could take advantage of a large percentage of us to get exactly what they needed. And that became holographically growing over time until it became the shitstorm that we are in right now. And in order for us to be able to, the reason that we were drawn from the trees in the first place is because we evolve into something fucking amazing. Hello? It's out there. I've seen it. I can't explain it. It's part of my channeling, but I've seen it. And the way that we are being helped along through this most difficult part, this part was hard. This part was like being pushed out of a womb, humanity. This was those weird, what happens in the womb? What is that called? Quickening? When the fetus suddenly realizes, I think, that it's I'm a whole thing. And like the whole body sort of electrifies and it starts kicking in the womb. It's like we're doing that. It's like we are being electrified with that energy that brings us into one whole consciousness being. It's fantastic. It's amazing. But we got to root this bullshit out first, because you are not being birthed with this. The eventual, beautiful, evolution that we become does not contain that. Ooh! And here's what we end with, the King of Swords. Do you see the difference between the Nine of Swords and the King of Swords? The Nine of Swords is no longer a victim. The Nine of Swords is the victim in this case, but the King of Swords is not. The Nine of Swords is in despair, but the King of Swords is not. The King of Swords has picked up this sword and, by God, won a kingdom with it. How do you get a clearer message than that? You want your kingdom back? You take it. You take it with the sword. What's up here? What comes out of here? You want your kingdom back? You stop crying over it. And you pick up the sword and you be the king that you are. We were created in the image of that which is drawing us forward. Okay? Whatever name you want to put on that. Even if you want to make it just an algorithm, it's a really kick-ass algorithm, apparently, because we are coming back into our sovereignty. We are inheriting what was ours all along. Wow. Thank you, Tiny Tarot. I don't even know if I could have made up a more inspiring message than this, because really, this is what we're headed to, guys, and this is how we get there. With this judgment, again, if you want to interpret that as something comes out of the sky and says, this is right and this is wrong, you can. But to me, this is a frequency that is being shot forth. that we are deeply being embedded within. And that frequency says, sorry, baby, truth only. Sorry, baby, we do not tolerate parasitic relationships. This doesn't happen. You do not feed on a piece of the population in order to forward yourself. It puts things way out of balance. It's not the way nature works. You get a predator that gets too big, it gets deleted from the system. And smaller niche people move out. That's just how biology works. Study it. This is just how it's going to be. This next phase is truth only, baby. So, that being said, you want this overflowing cup of love, which is there for you all the time. It may not be in this physical realm. It's here for you all the time. And we pick up this sword that we have been given to show us who we really are. And we are the king in that moment. And all moments moving forward. This is whatever we're being birthed through. This is where it puts us. Whew. Meditate on that for a little bit. I'm going to have to, because this just feels really, really big. But to get all of this right at the end, Judgment, Ace of Cups, King of Swords, understand that that frequency of truth is inevitable. Tune yourself to that and understand the entire construct is going to be tuning to that. Therefore, overflowing cup of more than what you ever thought you had. Brand new beginning when it comes to love. Love you didn't even know was there. This is the deep stuff. It's like we've got a cheering section saying, come on, come on, come on, you're almost there. It may get weird. What happens? Ooh, I have had children. And you know what happens right before the baby comes out? You go, you know what? I'm done. I don't know if I can push again. I think I'm exhausted. Hey, you guys. I remember saying, like, hey, you guys. I don't know if I can do anymore. And they go, look, you're almost there. So this is what Tiny Tarot was saying. You are almost there. There's just a few more pushes. And then, baby, guess what? Overflow. What happens when you get that new baby? Oh, it's such a wonderful feeling. And you can't imagine life before this moment. It seems like everything before becomes a little blurry because it's so new from that point on. Your life has literally changed. Something big is coming for us, guys. And it's going to change things in the best way. And I know we want to see it as a single moment, but I'm seeing it as us. Like we are what's being celebrated right now because we are the ones that are doing the work to make this happen. Ending with this King of Swords it's such a powerful place to be. If you look at the very beginning, where were we? In this Nine of Swords, feeling helpless, feeling like it's bigger than what we can control, letting it keep us up at night, and ending in a place of power. You don't get any more powerful than the king when it comes to this. And again, the swords are what? Our thoughts and our words. Judgment is that unending vibration of truth. We're going to see the truth. It's going to be so easy to look at that point. And why are we here? To send so much love to it. When we send love, we receive love. This is such a strange time that we're going through, but this is a positive ending to look at it. And I'm so thankful that Tiny Tarot ended us with this. Goodness sakes. Take some hope with you today and understand that even when you may feel like, well, what can I possibly do? That as a light worker, you being you, shining your light, continuing that deep connection to your higher self, and sending love and blessings every time you can, it's doing more than what you realize. Tiny Tarot says it. I am low-key magical with a K. Have a magical rest of your day.